Hi, my name is Kendi, and this is Kendi Creates, a little spot on the internet where I share mostly things that I'm knitting, but other ways that I am practicing creativity in my life. You're probably hearing my pups. They make a lot of noise and like to be close, so you might hear them quite a bit in and out of this video. But I am here today to talk about fall winter knit plans. It is October 1st when I'm filming this, and even though it's still like upper 80s and into the 90s here in Tulsa, I am like fully in the fall winter creative headspace right now. And I'm working really hard to try and figure out like when that mood strikes. I need to figure out when to start doing my fall knit plans as well as like spring summer knit plans, because by the time the vibe strikes, I feel like we're well into the season and I don't have enough time to actually finish the projects that I want to wear that season. And so I'm experimenting with when the time is right to start my knit plan. So I've actually already started and finished one of my fall winter knit plans. So we'll start right in with that one. So the very first project, this has been on my wish list for quite a while, and I just got it off the needles this last weekend, is the Zakkuri cardigan by Noriko Ichikawa. And here she is. I have not blocked her yet, but I will very, very, very soon because I'm ready to wear this immediately. So this is knit up in Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino in the colorway Soft Cognac. And I also have buttons on the way. Now, whether or not these buttons fit is a whole other story, because I found them and just thought, these are beautiful, I think they'll work, didn't look at the measurements, and bought them. So we're waiting for them to be shipped now. And they are these beautiful gold delights. So I am going to block this and wear this without buttons because it just needs to be worn, and it's so beautiful and it's so cozy, and I just can't wait for the buttons. Why would I wait for the buttons to start enjoying this thing? So that is the first project on my fall winter knit plans for this year, and it's already done, which feels awesome. So September, end of August, September is a good plan to start, at least. That's what I'm feeling so far this year. I told you were going to hear the pups because they make a lot of racket. Okay, so next project on my needles, I've already started. This is the Jaunty shawl. This is a new pattern release by Andrea Mowry. And I'm knitting it up in a superwash merino DK weight. This is called Variations, and it's in the colorway Evening Amazonite. So there's that beautiful skein in all its glory. This I'm loving. It is so squishy. It's creating such a thick fabric, and I'm tickled to introduce some turquoise into my wardrobe. This summer, I had my colors analyzed, and I've talked about, what I thought my season was in earlier videos. The video where I was knitting up a sweater for Nash Yarn Fest, the sweater. I talked a little bit about what I thought my season was, and I'm starting to knit up a wardrobe that is complementary. And I got my colors analyzed in August, and it is confirmed that I am a warm spring. And turquoise, teal, aquamarine, those are colors that are beautiful for me. And I had no idea. I thought those colors were just, too blue and inherently cool because of the blue in the colors, but no. So this is the first turquoise knit project that I'm introducing to my wardrobe, and I am tickled to have that. And accessories are such an easy way to introduce new techniques, new colors, new textures. It's kind of like a low stakes way of introducing it. So that's where I'm going with that. So that I just started this last weekend. I picked up that yarn in Jackson Hole. I just got back from a trip to Yellowstone and Grand Tetons, and I did a hike around Jenny Lake. And if you've ever been to Jenny Lake and Yellowstone, like there is this aqua blue that is mesmerizing, both in some of the hot springs in Yellowstone as well as the water at Jenny Lake. And I feel like this is the like perfect souvenir for that trip that I get to carry with me. So tickled about that project. We're well underway there. Now the next project I have that are in the works too are six, is that right? Six pairs of socks in four different colorways. I'm losing track because there are so many. And also because I've knit one sock of basically every colorway. Not a full pair, just one sock, because I've been I've been really excited to see how these colorways are knitting up. But I'll show you a couple of the two socks that I have finished. So this pattern is the Camp Waffle sock by Hannah in Analog. It is thick, it is squishy, it is a beautiful texture. The heel construction is gorgeous. This is the first time I've done this heel construction, and I am amazed at how A, easy it is, and B, how it is so like snug and taut. There are zero holes or spaces to work with. You aren't picking up stitches and fiddling with that and counting all those things. It's gorgeous. So I'm knitting them up in Patons Kroy, which I also am really loving this yarn. And I've got Clover colors. We have Mexicala stripes. We have Dad's Jacquard. How fun is this one? And I'm knitting up two pairs of these, so my sister and I can have a couple matching pairs. This will be a gift for my mom. She mentioned that she wanted some knit socks, and so these I think she'll really enjoy. And then I also have this colorway for my sister as well. This is the colorway Amethyst Stripes, and it's got a beautiful blend of just different purples and burgundies and black that I think will be really lovely on her. So my goal here is to finish this sock, immediately cast on and knit up its match, and that way I can start having some like actually finished pairs, because one of most of them is making me feel a little bit scattered. Now, so that is another fall winter project that I really don't have a deadline for. This is a project that I can kind of always have, and just it's super portable. I can take it with me all the time and just work on it here and there, because it doesn't really require a lot of attention. It doesn't require counting, and so I can pick it up and put it down basically at any point. I don't have to get to a certain point in the pattern to pause, which makes it, super accessible to have on me all the time. So I've got those socks, and I hope to have all of those finished this winter. So then moving on to like holiday seasonal knits. Now, I really just enjoy winter season, and my favorite holiday is actually New Year's Eve. I love that it is a time to reflect. It is a time to just gather and celebrate. It feels really sparkly and effervescent, and so I always get a nice bottle of champagne. I typically have like some yummy cheeses, and also my birthday is January 3rd, so maybe that's another reason why I can just start celebrating at New Year's Eve and just continue through my birthday, and that feels really fun. But I wanted to make something really beautiful and sparkly for this year, and so I have settled on the Cloud Top by Petite knit, and I'm going to knit it up holding one strand of Knitting for Olive cotton merino in the colorway Wheat, held with two strands of laying Paillettes in white gold. So I'm doubling up the paillettes, so it's like maximum sequins possible, because that's the vibe that I'm going for. Like, I'm thinking like, what was the Britney Spears video circa like 97, 98, where she's just got like jewels glued all over her body? And I just want to be sparkly like Britney Spears in that video. So this is where we're going with it. Like I said, I'm gonna do the Cloud Top by Petite Knit, holding 2 strands of the sequined yarn with 1 of the cotton merino. I hope the cotton merino makes it wearable across seasons, because I also like going to see musicals and the ballet. Oh, we got a girl who's winding up with her toy, so it might get real wild. Go outside. But I do like having something that's just very celebratory, very sparkly, very effervescent. I like to carry that, you know, into a variety of different spaces and places, not just the winter holiday. So that will be a fun project. I'm really wanting to cast it on like right now. My creative energy is high, which sometimes means I cast on way too many things at once. So I'm exhibiting and practicing restraint, and instead just fantasizing and creating videos about what I want to make. Hold on. Okay, so in the vein of like cute, fun, celebratory, like vibrant, fun projects, I found this pattern, and I'm really not sure how to pronounce the name of the pattern, so I'm just going to insert it here. And I have fallen in love with this pattern. Now, typically I am a boxy, oversized, relaxed construction. That's kind of my vibe. But there's something about the way the ruffles are and the cropped nature, like just the overall design of this pattern, I think is a really beautiful blend of more flowy, drapey, flouncy features, which are typically not my vibe, with a more boxy, linear construction that feels just not super cutesy, right? It's a perfect blend of boxy and cutesy. So I am planning on knitting this up in Kelborn Woolens Mojave in the colorway Coral. Now, I picked this up in Atlanta, a spot called the Craftivist, in the spring. And my original intention with this was to kind of modify the Skyline Tee by Tori Yu with this. Now, it's a cotton linen blend, is that right? Yes, it is a cotton linen blend, and it's also quite a bit bigger. That pattern calls for fingering weight. This is a DK or a sport weight. And as I was starting it, the drape of this, the fabric was creating, just wasn't a good complement to that tee. So I frogged it, and instead I think this will be perfect for this cropped ruffledy top. I have to decide whether I want to do full buttons and have it like a cardigan, or if I want to have it as a top with the buttons being more decorative. To be continued there. I do need to order, I think, 2 more skeins of this to have enough yardage, but tickled for that. And I think the drape of this particular fiber blend will be much more complementary to the ruffles and the drape in this top. We shall see. So that is my second kind of fun, kind of like cutesy, something that like I might not necessarily grab. It's a little less of a, no, that's why I'm going to try it, because it's a perfect blend of like casual, cutesy, boxy, modern, adorable, like that's the vibe. And that's exactly why I'm knitting it. So, but I think it'll be particularly fun this winter, right? Bright, vibrant color, adorable construction. So that will be on the list as well. Now, I have one more thing that I have the yarn already for, and that I'm really excited about. So I got my very first yarn Advent. It just came in the mail like a week or so ago. This is Advent by Woolens and Nosh. And like I said, it's my very first one. I've seen them on, socials for several years, and I had no idea how early the pre-order happens for these. So, once I would start seeing them on social media, I would start looking around for yarn Advents and just could not find any and had no clue. But thanks to Shayla of Black Pearl Magic, she was posting in her stories so many Advents this spring. And I knew I wanted to do Woolens and Nosh because I watch Mackenzie, M to the third. Her YouTube channel is amazing. And I've seen her use this in several of her Vlogmases over the last several years and love it. So it is a self-striping yarn, and it comes in this adorable little project bag with just the ends poking out. So there are 2 skeins in here that are identical. And then I opted to do a mini skein as well. So the deal is you start with your mini skein, do your cuff or your toe, and then you knit and discover what the color of that day is. And that's the Advent part. And you just knit until you come back to this main color. That lets you know you're done for the day and you aren't immediately seeing the next day's color. So each day is a surprise. And I just think that is so much fun. This is so much more accessible of an Advent, both like quantity wise as well as price wise. And so I'm thrilled to have it be my very first one. So my goal is to figure out the frequency that I want to do that. I would love to do a stripe a day, and we'll see if I can accomplish that or if that is a little bit too ambitious for the season. Never done it before, so we'll see how that goes, but I'm tickled for that. So the next couple projects are projects that I would love to do, but A, I don't have the yarn in stock on hand, and B, I obviously have plenty of projects with yarn that I can focus on. And so these are kind of like honorable mentions. If I get to them, I get to them. But if not, I'll just kind of push them into next year's wish list. So I've got 3 options there. One is the Town Square sweater by Postcard Knits. I have been seeing this all over TikTok, and every single test knit version I have seen is adorable. So good. It's a beautiful texture. It's got I-cord edging and is good in several different fibers. So I would like to knit that up in Cascade Nifty cotton in the color sea green. Again, I'm infusing those teals and turquoise and aquas into my wardrobe, and I thought this would be a beautiful color to complement the texture of the sweater. So, and with it being cotton, it can very easily be a spring transitional knit. It doesn't get super cold here in Tulsa over the winter, and so sometimes like a 100% wool top is just too much, or you can only wear it for 3 weeks out of the year. So I would like to do this in a cotton, so it's just got a lot more wearability for where I live, and cotton just feels great. I love the feel of cotton knits on my skin. So that I can easily push to the spring if I don't get to it this year. I'm not 1000% invested in getting this done in the next 3 or 4 months. So the other 2 options are actually very similar options. They are both lace weight, mohair / alpaca, kid silk, cropped tops. And I truly just couldn't decide between the 2 because they both are just really cool. And I think that they are different and distinct enough that having one of each in the wardrobe won't be like, oh, you're wearing the exact same top. And as if that matters anyway. But in terms of like expanding my wardrobe, I would like to have some variety and options before starting to have a lot of duplicates. So the 2 options I'm looking at are the Lily Sheer Top by Irene Lynn. I would love to knit this up in Rowan Kid Silk Haze in the color Anemone, which is this beautifully like warm, vibrant purple. This is a color I do not have anything up. And again, I did not think purples, I didn't think I had so many purples in the warm spring palette, but there's a lot actually. So purple would be another really fun, punchy color to introduce to my wardrobe that I just don't have. It would fill a big gap and offer a lot of variety in terms of like creating really colorful outfits, which sounds fun to me. So that option is, it's got a little bit of a ruffle, it's got a little bit of a gathering at the waist, and so it is a bit more poofy compared to the second option. Now the second option is the light loop sweater by Other Loops, and the pattern is a long sleeved option, but I saw this creator on Instagram, and I'll put their information in the description and show you a picture of what I saw. They did it in a lime green, like a kind of like pukey, chartreusey lime green, and they did a short sleeve version. And their version with that yarn created a very boxy and like drapey as opposed to poofy. This poofy versus drapey, if that visual helps. And just absolutely love it. So they're similar in some ways and very, very different in other ways. And so the fiber for that one is the Fiber Space Cumulus in the colorway. Another word that I am not sure how to get my mouth around. So that colorway is just a delight. And I have both of those yarns saved on my wish list and ready to add to my cart if I work through the other projects that I already have yarn on hand for. Now, that is the end of my knit list. I do have 3 things that I would like to do that are not knit related. So one is this quilted hoodie pattern. This looks so cozy. I mean, can you imagine having this beautiful handmade quilt that you just get to wear around? I mean, quilted jackets are huge right now, but I love this hoodie option. And I pulled some fabrics from my stash for it that I'd like to show you. That's what we're here for, right? So warm purple option, we've got that guy. We have this orange and reddish orange kind of pattern. We have a vibrant tangerine. Then this kind of raspberry and purple pattern. A raspberry that really complements the pink in that pink and purple option. We have a vibrant kind of papaya. I guess I might call this papaya. Maybe not. Ooh, very vibrant yellow-orange. And then we have this warm bubblegum pink, somewhere between like a raspberry and bubblegum, warm toned. So that is the palette for this beautiful quilted sweater. I'm pretty sure I have enough yardage, but that is also to be determined. I just printed off the pattern yesterday, and so I'll double check the yardage and hit up Michael's. Michael's is really the only store local to me right now these days that has fabric options, and I know they're growing their collection now that Joann's is RIP. Yeah, so there's that option. Now, the other option is inspiration from a TikTok creator. I saw them create this. They punched out circles and stars and then stitched them into a garland with metallic thread. And like, I want to bring on the sparkle and effervescence. And so that's typically kind of how I decorate in the winter, is sparkles galore. Metallics galore. And so I'd like to do that. Again, we'll see if that makes it to fruition. It is one that I think would be a lot of fun. I think it would be a very, quick, easy project to finish up, but not as much of a priority as all my socks, my sparkly sweaters, my ruffledy, flouncy crop top and my turquoise shawl. So those are my priorities at the moment. Oh, I have one more project. Now, this is not at all identified. It is just a desire, and I'm putting it out there so that perhaps a project comes to mind, right? So I would like something to put on my front door, but I don't want a wreath. And I'm not quite sure what exactly I want for that to be. I did see some wall hangings, some like mini quilt wall hangings that someone put on their front door, which I think is adorable. I've seen people do like quilted bows, which I like the idea of the quilted component, but the bow doesn't really match my vibe. So I'm putting that out there as I'd like some kind of decorative element on my door. And I trust that the idea, inspiration will come. We'll see. So that's like a wish list, a wish item that's kind of percolating and forming over time. Okay, so that is at least the entirety of my fall, winter, knit, sew, creative plans as of right now. I trust that there might be some moving around of things as inspiration comes and goes, motivation comes and goes, and energy comes and goes. And so that tends to kind of ebb and flow in the season. And I trust that this year will not be any different in that regard. And so right now, while my motivation and my energy and creativity is really, really high, I am gobbling up all of the projects, all of the fun fabrics, all of the fun colors, all of the inspiration, and just really marinating in it, enjoying it so, so, so deeply. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed looking through all of these fall winter projects. I hope you are enjoying your own kind of planning creative process for the fall and winter and are enjoying your projects as much as I am. So wishing you well, and I'll see you next time.